Hey everybody, it's Matt Johnson. We're back with the latest episode of the Team Building Podcast. This is where we interview and mastermind with other top mega agents and operations managers, marketing directors, and other high-ranking staff of the top teams around the country. And in this particular episode, we're going to be talking with a great operations manager of one of the top teams around the country, and we're going to be getting her perspective on everything from maximizing profit and financials and how she works with her team leader and a little bit of the structure. We're going to go super deep on a few things so that you get a ton of value if you are currently running or are looking to build a team, especially if you're expanding, even if it's just your own state or if you're expanding around the country. We want to go super deep on some things that will be really of value to you and give you some insight into how other teams around the country are operating so that you can apply those concepts to your business. So first of all, let's bring in the regular co-host, Jeff Cohn. Jeff, what's up today?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Super pumped today. This is going to be a great topic. I don't know that we've ever gone down this vein, and I'm really appreciative of Krista jumping on this call or podcast with us today and taking part in this. I know this is a huge value for a lot of people, so thank you very much for being here.
That's right.
Yeah,
and Krista, tell us, and we really appreciate you being here. I know this is not your typical role to be kind of out in front, but that is the point of the podcast, is to get. Yeah, so we want to bring people like yourself kind of out from behind the scenes because you're the one that's running things on a day-to-day tactical level. You're really in the trenches doing this stuff. And so kind of give us a little bit of background on who you are, where you're based at, and what your role is within the Five Doors team.
Sure. So as far as my background goes, I actually graduated. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, and from there, I joined Keller Williams. I started with Keller Williams in 2003 as the Market Center Administrator for the office in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And then in about 2010, I helped launch the Hagerstown, Maryland office. I worked there for about 3 years. Again, working as the admin, and then I began looking for more opportunities. And, you know, I tapped into a few things, but ultimately I ended up working with Seth Campbell and Lori Hopkins as regional assistant for the Keller Williams, Maryland, D.C. region. So super blessed that God put me on that path because I got to work with some really amazing leaders in the Maryland, D.C. region and outside of it. But from there, I was introduced to Five Doors. Being in that regional role, I started working and getting to know some of the Five Doors leaders. And at one point, Seth and I started chatting and learning about the team's mission, the vision, really actually blew me away. Like, this team is focused on building generational wealth through real estate, and it's really an honor, a huge blessing to be part of. So I actually began in 2015 working with the largest expansion team in the country. And just to give you an idea as far as like Five Doors and a little bit of background. So there were 4 like mega producers, right? And they decided, they all came together. They had the same vision. They were in a line, and they wanted to launch an expansion team. So they did it a little bit different. It's unique than most expansion teams that you'll see. Like most expansion teams have this team, and then they expand off of it. What happened with Five Doors and their investors, they decided to fund and build from from scratch an expansion team. And so like and you can see it in our trends from 2014, like they started the year like 0 GCI. By the end of 2015, their second year in production, they had closed over 2 million in GCI. I mean, they were ranked number 21 in units and number 40 by volume with Real Trends. So I mean, for being at second year in production, that's amazing results. And
is that billion with a B? 2 billion? Is it that here? That correct?
Million.
2 million.
Now let me ask you, Krista.
Billion.
We're talking about just the one expansion office, not Five Doors as a whole, right?
Well, no, this is Five Doors, and it's like I said, it's not the investors. Like their teams are not connected. So
that's what I was going to ask. Does it include the 4 top producers production, or just the expansion team?
Yeah.
This is just the expansion part, right?
Gotcha.
So it does not include any of the investors' numbers.
That's great. That's
that
impressive.
Makes sense, yeah.
How many locations have they gone into, Krista?
So we are actually, we just approved one. So we're in 8 different locations that are the expansion locations. So yeah.
All right, awesome.
Very cool. All right, so so let's dive in a little bit with. So we talked about your background and stuff like that. So with it being kind of a unique structure, you've got four investors. Who are you dealing with mainly? And obviously you're the personality type that's really suited to operations. That's your role.
Right.
So how do you best kind of go about what's your communication like? And is it do you have some regular structured communication to kind of keep the to make sure that things stay on track with the person that's above you?
Yes. So as far as like who I am in communication with, that's Marcy, and she's like she oversees like the admin operations division, and so we actually have what's called a 411, and if you're not familiar with what a 411 is, it's basically an accountability tool that allows us to stay on track. So basically, you have this goal that you set for the year, and then you break it down by month. So each month we create a whole new one, and then for that month we break it down by week. So it's like, what's the one thing or your top 20% that needs to get done this month, this week, in order to hit that yearly goal, right? So we are constantly in conversation about that. So I speak with her once a week on that via phone call, and we chat and go over that and see, what were my challenges, what did I accomplish, what do I need to do this week in order to hit those goals. So she's one of the 4. Is she one of the 4 mega producers that founded, or is she a step below them? Right, she's right below them. Yeah, she works, like I said, the operations and admin are kind of combined, so Marcy oversees them, and then we have a lead gen division, and Ben oversees that division. Yeah, I'm curious about that, just about the team structure and kind of how you guys are trying to consolidate things. So when you say like the admin and operations division, do you guys have like a central place where you're trying to do transaction management and coordination for all of your different offices, or are you managing people that are kind of in each office? So, are you referring to like a CRM or something like that? No, just in terms of like on the operations side, do you have like a centralized place where you're trying to provide like transaction coordination, where the agents can just hand off the deal once they're under contract to somebody that's like a separate physical location, or does each office have their own admin staff and you're managing them remotely? So our admin, they are all virtual, and Marcy oversees them, and she assigns them to different locations. So some admin, and it is like role specific. So we have admin that is listing manager only, and then we have like transaction coordinator only. So they're focused on that. So like we have one gal that does Oregon and Phoenix. It depends on the number of transactions. So we're able to spread that out. But we do have like one site. So an agent would literally, like if they get a new contract or a new listing, like they would go to our 5 Doors transaction site, and they would click the link to submit their contract or their listing. Once they submit it, it goes to the appropriate admin, and then they take it from there.
Awesome. Is there a fee attached to that per transaction? So in all of those 8 expansion locations, when a buyer agent or a listing agent executes a deal, are they collecting a fee from their client, and/or is 5 Door collecting a fee from that person, which is your client, I guess that agent, to cover the cost of that admin?
Yeah, so in states that will allow it, obviously we have to watch state regulations, but if we can, we will charge that to the client. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Does that vary in every state?
Yeah.
The legality of it and the amount you charge?
The legality. We keep the same amount, but it's the legality. Like, we just have to make sure that we're in compliance.
Okay.
Gotcha. And so are you guys able to actually like offset most of your admin costs through that, or is it just kind of offsetting a chunk of it?
Really, it's just offsetting a chunk of it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to speak to, Max, I think our audience would like to hear it, is our team in Omaha has offset completely 100% zero-based our admin expense through our broker fee. This year we'll make about $300,000 off broker fees. We charge $600 on the buy side and $1,000 on the sell side. So when we launched our expansion platform, Elite Real Estate Systems, just about a year ago, not even a year ago, we expected that the people we partnered with in those 4 cities would be able to easily implement the additional fees, and they have implemented them, but it's been a big challenge to help them get their agents on board with charging that additional fee and then seeing the value of having an admin person do it, because so many agents are so used to doing all their own transaction coordinating, but we know that by leveraging that to somebody else is going to give the agent more time to do what they should be doing, which is meeting with people in person and prospecting for more leads. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did I hear that correctly, that they also have listing managers? So if someone takes a listing on your team, on the 5 Doors team, is there someone that's actually running the listing and communicating with the seller client, or are they just kind of taking care of the back end in terms of the getting it up on the MLS and taking care of the marketing end of things?
I think it's a combination. I don't get into the admin side, so I don't know exactly everything that they're doing over there, but I do know they are in communication with the seller, but they are putting in doing that back end work. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
So we talked a little bit about the admin role, also those broker fees. How do you guys handle in terms of structure surrounding training? How does 5 Doors make sure that all of their expansion teams has the same culture?
Yeah, so we actually just started a boot camp, which started in our Goodyear location, and they are having agents go through that before they can actually join the team. So it gets them into culture, it gets them into knowing the activities that they need to go through. And then as far as other training, our lead gen division has really stepped it up. I feel like it's I'm going to give out a shout to Ben Pickthorn. I must say he has really done an amazing job over there.
Awesome.
We have 5 Doors, we're in 8 locations right across the country, and that's the expansion part of it. So, and we're with a hub that is actually not centered around a call center. We have 4 ISAs because we didn't want to build off that. So what we really wanted to build off was those MET relationships. And we have something that we call the weekly rhythm, because we didn't, we don't want to just feed the agents, right? We want to teach them, we just don't want to throw them fish. We want to teach them how to fish. So, so what we have is the weekly rhythm. It's something that we launched a few months ago, and it's going really well, and we've had really good response from it. And it's basically every agent in the country is doing the exact same thing. In the mornings, they go through their daily power-up, and then they're all out and they're lead generating and doing the same type of lead gen, the same type of activities. And we have this philosophy of same goal, different role. And it's not just the agents that's doing the activity in the lead generation. I mean, it's not just the hub, right? They're both participating, doing the same thing. And not only that, but the leadership is doing the same thing. They're out lead generating for the growth part of the business.
Right.
So,
awesome.
So yeah.
That's awesome. I know you guys are with Keller Williams primarily. Are all of your expansion locations within Keller Williams as well?
Yes.
So
yes,
that helps a lot on the recruiting side. I'm sure a lot of the leaders that or at least your recruiters has taken Recruit Select at least multiple times, and then of course you're familiar with ESO, as are we. So one of the things I'd like to do is give a quick shout out to Keller Williams. If you're not with Keller Williams, which a lot of our audience is not, and you would like to take advantage of some of the training that they offer, Keller Williams is an open door company. So any trainings they offer, even at a local level when they have trainings, events and everything, I know that they're open to anyone coming and learning and engaging together and sharing, and I think that's such an awesome thing about Keller Williams. So just a quick shout out to anybody that wants to go to an event. Feel free to reach out to someone in your local market that's with Keller Williams, or I'm sure Krista, you'd love them to reach out to you, or whatever source. You Google it online, you can find the events. But I've been to Recruit Select and ESO down in Austin and another event in Kansas City, and I learned a ton. So it's a great resource.
Actually we just launched, Keller Williams just launched career visioning, and this was July was the first month that it came out, and it's replacing Recruit Select. So I've already attended it once. I plan on going many more times, but I will say, like, they really dialed it down and made it more simplistic for us, and it's all like right there, whereas Recruit Select, like, I think you probably had to take it like a billion times before you really even had it sink in. So yeah, I mean, Keller Williams definitely has an amazing university, and they are a company that's focused on training and really educating the.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
And a blessing to be part of that, and have those resources at hand at all times. Like, that's awesome.
They're phenomenal. I mean, neither one of them. I mean, me and Jeff, neither one of us are with Keller Williams, and we have nothing bad to say about them at any level, because it's a phenomenal company. It's great if you're looking to expand a team, or if you want to build a team. I mean, that to me, that's the primary company to look towards. I mean, Berkshire Hathaway obviously is great to you, Jeff. That is due in large part to the amazing relationship you have with your local broker. Yeah. And as I understand it, Jeff, I mean, that broker is he the top broker, the individual broker within Berkshire?
He's the #1 broker in the country across every brokerage platform. He has 500 agents under one location, so that's what helps him be able to say that.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you have a lot of, and I wouldn't say freedom, but I mean, you have a really good relationship with the person who's the #1 broker out of the entire company. That's put you in a pretty good spot. So
yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. All right. So Krista, let's give me an idea, kind of, and this is one of the questions that I sprung on you, and I apologize, but I'm going to ask it anyway. But I'm curious, just with the financial background. Obviously, you were brought in to help, kind of take this wild west, this whole expansion concept and things like that, and maybe it sounds like probably install some financial controls, some common sense stuff that other businesses do that maybe real estate probably gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. So I'm curious about your role on the financial end, and maybe there's what I'm really curious about is there maybe 1 to 2 things that you can point out that are areas that you guys really look at and monitor closely to keep your profit as high as it possibly can?
Yeah, so when I came in, like a lot of teams, like the accounting, the finances were outsourced, right? And so it was more difficult for the investors to have that real live, information in the reports. So when I came in and we set up systems, basically we redid the chart of accounts, like we divided the divisions. So we can see, like, this is what lead gen is doing, this is what ops is doing, and then we actually the location expenses were kind of mixed in there. So now what we're trying is we've pulled those out. So like if an individual location has something like that's lower, that's further down on the list, and we've realized that we have to get more of a control on the locations, right? Because we have teams that are attaching themselves to 5 doors because they've realized that by attaching themselves they can go further faster with our systems. Yeah. So a lot of times they have a ton of expenses. So we're, that's one area that we have to look at and be able to say, can we cut this, or we have this, so let's see about reducing the expenses there. But that's one area, and then we do like to focus on the % of the location expenses, also the cost of sale that's going out. We try to keep that at a certain percentage, and so we just keep our eye there. But having it separated and knowing how much each location is profitable in, that also is very important and gives us more focus. But what happens is we, to keep the owners, the leaders updated, we have a system. I send out a daily company dollar report every day so they can see, how much income has come in for the month, how much is projected for the remainder of the month, where we are in expenses, what's our budget, where we, are we in line there, and then what we're projecting for the profit. And so that goes out every single day.
That's awesome. Do you get a lot of those numbers from Keller Williams Corporate? because I know they account for a lot of those different transactions. I was actually in Austin on Friday and spent the day with Tim Heil. A lot of the Keller Williams listeners will know Tim. I know he's probably done a lot in terms of masterminding with you guys as well. And he showed me a few reports because he has 5 or 6 teams as well throughout Texas. And I was so impressed with the numbers and all the reporting that Keller Williams provides to him, and it saves them a lot of time. Are you taking advantage of that as well, or do you guys build a lot of your own reporting?
Yeah, so I actually worked with the reports gal at KWRI and said, for expansion, like, we would love to see these reports. So, like, they came out with multi-year trends for us. So it's the expansion team all grouped together. And then we asked them, and it was the expansion team all together, like, because there's a mastermind group, and we were like, what is it that we want to see from KWRI? What can they give us? And so now they've broken it down, and I've even asked them, and whatever, what's nice about Keller Williams is, like, you can ask, and, like, they are awesome about getting new reports together for us and different things like that. I mean, I can get a whole sales transaction for the whole month, so I can look and do an audit of, these are all the deals that closed in the month of June through Keller Williams, and I'm just going to match it with mine that I have through my books, just to make sure that we're in line. So yeah.
So one thing I wanted to discuss with our audience is I think that there's a lot of advantages with expansion to stay within your brokerage's model, because then you at least know that when you expand, hopefully those brokerage locations, if they're following the franchise/broker model, they'll be tracking everything the same way, and you'll have similar culture. One of the things we did that's completely contrary to what I just said is we don't have one expansion location that's within Berkshire. They're all actually, a lot of them are privately owned brokerages that we've partnered with. And from an accounting standpoint, it's a little bit more of a nightmare because we have to create a wheel. There's no wheel for us to plug those deals into. So I was really curious how you guys handled that. Hey, switching gears here for a second, one thing I'm curious about, I know our listeners would be curious about, in your expansion locations, are you following the ESO model in that you own the expansion team, or are you plugging into someone else that already is in that office, has a team, and you're simply helping provide value to them?
So actually we have really large, really massive, and we just rolled them in. So example, we have the Shift home team. They're from Maryland. They're closing about 400, 450 units a year. And, they're attaching themselves to 5 doors, and everything is running through our financials, right? So, I mean, they will still keep their branded information. So they'll be the Shift home team powered by 5 Doors Network, right? Okay. But everything is coming through us financial-wise. Yep. And so we are actually owning that. It's not they're just paying us, because I think some expansion teams just charge like a service fee. Right. And that's all they pay. But no, we're taking the whole thing. Okay. But the reason, like, they're attaching, because you think, like, somebody that's doing 400, 450 deals, like, what's going on? But they see, like I said, like, they see bigger opportunity because they are able to take on a whole region and have this opportunity to move.
So they're looking to scale and looking to expand their team, and they're saying, look, this is the shortcut to all the systems already being built, so we can just start stacking in agents all across the region.
Right, exactly, because they were going to expand anyway, so why not just attach to 5 doors, right? Yep.
Interesting.
And just so everyone knows, that's the same model that we're adopting. I don't physically own any of our expansion locations. They're plugging into our network, and our network provides them value. Krista, for you guys, and I know from an operations manager standpoint, I'm putting you kind of on the spot to answer this question, but what would you say are like the top 3 or 4 value adds that somebody that has a team of doing 400 deals a year, why would they partner up with you? What would you say are the biggest value points that 5 Doors offers them to come on board with you?
I definitely think it's leadership, training, opportunity. Like a big team like that joins, we ran the numbers with them, right? And, they can expand. It would probably take them a little bit longer, but the opportunities within, as far as like a regional partner, and where they can move within Keller Williams, like they're going to expand and open locations with that within that region. So the shift team has taken on Maryland, D.C., and they're, you know, and I must say she's moving quick and fast. Like she's like, I'm submitting launch applications for this location and this location by the end of this week, and I'm like, okay, bring it on. Like, I'm super excited. So like, it's all there. It's all ready, and we have amazing leadership, and they're all growing. I mean, seriously, like the leadership within Keller Williams is amazing.
So Tim Heil and I had this conversation Friday, and we talked a little bit about it in our ERS management meeting yesterday. It surprises me because all the things you said, I also echo everything. I totally agree with you in terms of value, why people are getting on board with you and what you're able to do to help increase their business and the overall picture of where they want to go. It surprises me that brokers haven't taken advantage of that opportunity or seized that moment. And the reason that we believe, I guess I'll speak for myself, the reason I believe the broker hasn't chosen to do that is because I think the broker is serving the percentile of agents that sells maybe 1 to 5 million a year. They're not serving the agent that's at 5 million and up. And so there's a lot of these agents out there that don't have big teams. They need the leadership, the quality, you know, the training, and all the extra things that we can provide to them, the administrative help at that higher level. But they're not in a place yet maybe where they can have a team that does a couple hundred deals a year, or, you know, a team like mine that does 700 deals a year. And those types of agents, I think, are going to want more and more the types of services that both Five Doors and ERS provides. Are you seeing, like, who are you seeing as the typical best case demographic for the people that you're partnering with in your expansion locations? Are they the agents doing 1 million, or are they the agents doing 5 million plus?
You know, we see both. We have folks that are building or starting to build a team that are around that like $10 million mark. That are ready to go to that next level, and they're actually attaching and coming in as like a team leader of a location and building. Like that team can, we help that team go from like 10 million to like 30 million, 40 million, you know. We're going to increase, help them get there faster and quicker. And in return, like they're getting, you know, a piece, like they're getting an opportunity, a future opportunity. And then, you know, like I said, the megas are joining as well. As far as like who,
like if someone's listening to this thinking, man, I want to jump on board with Five Door and be a part of this, who do they need to be? Like, what does their business need to look like? Like, what if someone was doing?
It honestly can be. It can be anybody. I mean, we have. So what we have is we have team leaders in the locations, and they're recruiting agents to join their local team, right? And then we have regions that are out looking for team leaders to focus on those locations, and then those team leaders are being held accountable by the regional partner. And then you have the investors focused on launching these regions. And so like the megas tend to be like the regional partners. They roll in as regional partners because they have bigger opportunities there. But that $10 million mark, like they have big opportunities as well.
Would someone be able, sorry Matt, would someone be able to be part of your network if they were happy doing 10 million a year and they didn't want to build a team, they just wanted to continue doing what they were doing? Let's say
we have. So, you know, we have standards that we have set, and, you know, we want to help agents get to, like, you know, doing 1 transaction to 2 transactions a month and so forth. You know, we want to know what their goals are, and we want to help them hit those. But we do have standards, you know, so what we see is the team leaders are holding agents accountable to those standards. And if somebody isn't, you know, wanting to do those activities, they tend to just kind of go out, right? They don't want to do the work. They want us to feed them the fish. So.
Makes sense. Yeah. All right. And just so that I understand a little bit better, going back to the shift team that's doing 400 to 500 deals a year. So when they're submitting launch applications to launch new physical office locations, who is putting up and fronting the money for that? Is it 5 doors because they're owning it, or is it the shift team and then they own it?
I'm sorry, you went out there.
Oh,
so
sorry.
I don't know if it's my connection, but I did not hear any of that question.
Jeff, did you? Yeah. Anyway,
I got it all.
Okay, so it was the offices that the shift team is opening, the ones you mentioned that they're submitting launch applications for. Are these for offices for them to own, or are they submitting them and then 5 doors because they're investing in this team and now owns the shift team? Is 5 doors coming in and buying the office?
Right. So basically, when they submit the application, there is an agreement with the regional partner, and they get a piece of the opportunity, right? So we still own the location, but they are seeing the profits. So
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of similar to the original Gary Keller, how Gary Keller expanded KW to begin with regional managers, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and and the funny thing is, we have a map of the United States, and it is split out just like Gary split it out, right? And we have a ton of opportunity right now that we have open. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
So how do you get compensation from across state lines? Is it a referral fee? Or do you own, does 5 doors own it and they're licensed in that state, and so you keep the commission in 5 door and then you pay a commission to the agent that did the deal?
So how we are set up is transactions close in Portland, Oregon. It is an outside referral from that brokerage. Those agents are licensed in that office.
Okay.
And they're just part of our network. And so it's an outside referral sent to 5 doors. 5 doors is a brokerage within the state of Maryland, and then we receive them, and we just kind of class things out so that we know, oh, that income was from Portland, and these expenses are from Portland, so we know this is their overall income. Yeah.
That's exactly how ERS is doing it as well. In terms of a CRM, oh my gosh,
CRM.
Thank you, CRM platform. What do you guys make? Are you guys holding your expansion teams accountable to using one specific CRM, or can they use whatever system they want?
Okay, so as far as lead gen division, they have Boomtown. Keep that the client care division.
Start over real quick from Boomtown. We lost you right after that.
Sure. So agents join. We give them access to Boomtown. They get an account there.
Okay.
And then our client care division, the admin side, they're running CRM through RealVolve, and we're really developing that right now. It's working, but we have to make it scalable, right? As fast as we're growing and as large that we're going, we have to make sure that it's scalable across the country.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about RealVolve.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's dig into kind of a little bit more about your role. So what's your big project in your role in the operations side? What are you working on right now to kind of help support the growth?
Okay, so there's a couple things that we're doing right now, helping to build. And we're actually at the end of this one. So this is the marketing portal. So we are streamlining our marketing. We're going to have this portal where the agents can have access to all the marketing at all times. We'll have a VA that can, a package is submitted, and they assist the agent in getting all that creative.
The creative elements done. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all done. So, and it's going to be set so when they log in, their state required information is on all of their marketing. So that we're
awesome.
actually, we're near the end of that. The other project, which I'm super excited about, because this is one of the biggest challenges that we've had, is tracking our numbers. And I think most teams probably have this challenge that we do, but because I've talked to several operations managers, but basically you have this lagging data, and you struggle with those leading indicators that deal with the conversations that the agents are having with the consumer. So it's like it's the top of the pipeline, right? So what we're doing is we're going to create, we are creating an app so that an agent will simply be out and about. They'll be able to have an app on their phone. They'll click on it. It'll come up. It's number one, it has to be so easy, so simple for the agents, because too many clicks and they're not going to do it, right? So because we've tested things and
big buttons and colors, like Greg McDaniel always says.
Trial and error. So we've done beta tests with the agents and stuff.
So what are they inputting into it themselves?
So what we're going to do is the first phase is probably going to be out and launched in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's basically like if they have a first, they connect with somebody, they're just going to put their name and the status, right? And we might ask a few other questions, like they can fill that stuff in. Or if they've already have somebody that's in there that they just met, like last week, and let's say they set the appointment, they just open it up and click that they set the appointment. And what's happening in the background is building this pipeline for them, a tool that they'll be able to have at all times, knowing like, what's coming up, what's in the works. And also it's going to be building and tracking their numbers for the week, for the month, for the year, so that, we can help them. One, are you hitting the standards? And two, are you hitting your goals? Because their goals a lot of times will be higher than our standards. So it's going to be great. And then from there, like phase 2 is like we're going to be like integrating it with like RealVolve and really going deeper. So that's the biggest project we got probably going on right now, and super excited about that.
Yeah, and that's something I know Jeff had muted himself because of the phone, but yeah, so on our side for ERS, we do that by actually meeting with the expansion teams and with every individual agent one-on-one every week and inputting. They have to track their numbers, and then the success manager actually enters them in for them to try to avoid that exact thing you talked about, which is the one too many clicks and they're not going to do it.
Right. Well, and the other part of that, like we had a system too, and it was just collecting the numbers. I don't know if you're actually getting like we get the numbers, but can you validate those numbers, or are they just giving you random numbers, right? So this is actually like giving them, like they're putting in a name.
Yeah, it has to be linked to a name.
Yeah, it's linked to a name, and it's building their pipeline, and it's tracking all of our numbers. So like we're really excited about that, because we've done the numbers thing, and we have the team leaders, they meet with the agents, they get their numbers right now, or we have beta tested like Google Forms going straight to their emails, grabbing their numbers. I mean, quick and easy. Like Google Forms work pretty well, but it doesn't validate what their numbers, are doing, right? So we're just taking it a step further and making, a better tool for them.
Interesting. I like it. Yeah, that's a huge problem. I know that's something that Jesse Garcia at Pipeline Wizard has been working on for a long time, is building out a tool. Are you working or have worked with them?
We have worked with them, yeah.
Yeah, Jesse's awesome. I mean, the product that he has is great. I don't know if the structure of it may not quite work for expansion teams, or may not give all the functionality that you want. But if you're like a local team, or have a couple of offices or something like that, I mean, that's a new way to get a lot of that functionality, especially on the pipeline tracking and reporting, to know kind of what you're expecting in terms of like deal flow. A really, really good software product for that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this is we kind of reached the end of our time. I know we could go on. I think I maybe asked 2 out of the 7 questions that I had.
We actually need to extend 10 hours.
Exactly. All right. Well, all day podcast.
Right.
All right. So, Krista, you guys have got 8 locations, so I will ask you to list them all. But if somebody has referrals, where are your main regions, so that they can keep that in mind, so that they have a referral to send, and then who's the main person to kind of get in contact with to help them figure out who to actually get it, pass that person over to?
Yeah, so I would just say like our regional partners would be able to help them if they're looking in a specific region. We have Andy Green in the Portland region with a couple locations there, and then That's Andy Green or Andy at fivedoors.com, and then Raquel's in our Phoenix area, and she's got a couple locations as well. That's Raquel at fivedoors.com, and then our Maryland region is Jennifer Schiff, and it's Jennifer at fivedoors.com. General, you could always email homes@fivedoors.com or just go to fivedoors.com and find us there.
Cool. And then if somebody, if they're an operations manager for another team around the country and they'd like to mastermind with you or pick your brain about something, what's the best way to reach out to you personally?
Sure. You can
Lost you again.
yeah.
Try that one more time, Krista. We lost you again.
It's okay. Oh, sorry.
Conveniently, your internet dropped right when you said your email address.
Oh, sorry. No.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
It's Krista at fivedoors.com, and that's Krista with a K, so Krista at fivedoors.com.
Perfect.
All right, and then Jeff, for the workshops and everything like that, obviously they can reach out to you personally. But the best way for more information on the team building workshop that we do in the Omaha office with Jeff and our two guys that are the success manager and the operations manager that unfortunately was not able to join us today, Kevin McGowan. So go to eliterealestatesystems.com, go to the workshop page, and you can get all the details on that. And then Jeff, if somebody's interested in expanding with you, we do have some information on the website about what that looks like. But the best way, once you go through that, and if you want to really talk and get some questions answered, Jeff, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Just shoot me a Facebook message. You can find me on Facebook at Jeff Cohn, JEFFCOHN. You can also email Jeff at eliterealestatesystems.com.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, that's we're going to put a ribbon on that one and call that one done. I really appreciate you both joining us and mastermind. That was really good. Like we went really in depth on a couple of things that I think are going to be really valuable to anyone that's in the circle of team building, or especially the expansion world. So with that, we will say thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys on the next edition of the Team Building Podcast.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Krista. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Bye bye.